Hello, and welcome to Magical History 101. Now, I figure with this series, what we're going to cover is people who actually helped advance magic. And so, if you're famous and magical, but didn't do anything to advance magic, I'm going to try to scam over you. I mean, I'll cover you, but I'll also say that you didn't do anything magical. Anyway, today, like I said before and last week, we're starting with the Greeks. And I have a little list of people we're going to be talking about today because it helps. Lists are helpful. So, first on the list is Cassandra. Cassandra, she's a famous oracle. Everybody knows her. She's the one who said that Troy would fall, but nobody believed her because it's Cassandra. Actually, the Cassandra truth is the most famous thing she's famous for. Not magic. Because she was an oracle of Apollo. Apollo is a god, ergo, even if she was seeing the future, and she was, probably, her source material was biased because gods are innately biased. That's a thing. I mean, it's fine to be a worshiper of a god, but just realize that they're biased. Other people, Circe, she was probably a magician from some of the stuff we found in the Greek islands. Not weave, but, archaeologists and other types of stuff like that. Some of the stuff that has been found in the Greek islands implies that she had a palace there and implies magical laboratories, but she didn't write anything down. Now, obviously, in time, she became famous for what is now known as the Circean wand, which is a wand that's capable of transforming humans into animals and animals back into humans. So that's famous, but if there's any real Circean wands that exist today that were made by Circe, no one's going to be talking about them. You're not going to say, I have a Circean wand made by Circe, because if you said that, then it'd be stolen from you, because that kind of thing is valuable. Worth its weight in gold, if not more. So, other people, Hecate. Hecate is a goddess. She's famous. She's Greek. People worship her today. That kind of worship sort of petered out for a long time and then sort of surged back into popularity in the 70s and 80s. Really, really popular in the 80s with other New Age type things. But the difference between New Age stuff and Hecate worship is the fact that Hecate... Oh, there's a few other New Age religions, and we'll cover that when we get there. But anyway, the famous thing about Hecate is that her magic kind of works. Kind of. Although you got to take that with a grain of salt. Because, again, she's a goddess, and she might make it work, she might not. Anyway, moving on. Medea, magician, well known for being a magician and poisoner and stuff like that. But again, she's famous for being in a Greek play, but she didn't write anything down. So there's that. Other people. Virgoya supposedly invented Etruscan magic. The intrial reading and stuff like that. But again, she got her knowledge supposedly from a god. And so any knowledge that exists about that kind of thing today is knowledge that the magicians have worked out for themselves. So that's something you have to take with a grain of salt. Other famous people, Gyges. Gyges is really big. Gyges is a really interesting person because Gyges invented the magical ring. In fact, everybody knows about the One Ring, obviously from the movies and stuff. I mean, if you don't know about the One Ring, then you should watch a movie. Anyway, Gyges invented what is probably the quintessential original One Ring, and because it was a ring that what it did was it distilled everything you were good at. It distilled that. It made that more. Obviously, the things that made you a great person made you great. Everything that made you a bad person made you worse. Your middle stuff just sort of disintegrated. Then the wrong you were, the more powerful you were. It didn't make you magically powerful, but it definitely gave you an oomph. And it could turn you invisible. Obviously, Gygesian rings are known for corruption. Because if you can turn invisible whenever you want and make your whatever things you're good at better, yeah, you're going to use it a lot. Gygesian rings still exist, and they've been known to pop up throughout history. Again, they cause lots of trouble when they pop up. And what's interesting is the fact that nobody's been able to replicate it until the last few hundred years when we made a lot of advances in magical technology and capabilities and things like that. So that's really cool. Gyges, like I said, he didn't write anything down, but we know they exist because we've had them and there's been evidence of them popping up of the same kinds of rings throughout history. So they're little troublemakers. If you find them, then generally it's better to either give it back to whoever gave it to you or report it to somebody or give it to, report it through the Department of Magical Resources. That's a good place. They have a big library of them that you're not allowed to go into, but keep things like that are dangerous out of wrong hands, theoretically. All right, the last person on my list that I thought we should cover today. Ooh, history lessons are long. That's why this video is longer than normal. Is Melampus. Now, Melampus, there's a magician for you. Now, Melampus, what he did, supposedly he was a seer. He could see the future by talking to animals and learning from them. Which is really seeing the future, that's kind of a crapshoot unless you have farsight and know how to do the magic of farsight. Anyway, what he really did was he made it so that anybody with his bloodline and the right magical potential, so you could be a mage or a magician or whatever, potentially you could talk to animals. And somehow, using the blood magics and stuff of his day, he bound that into him, into his core. And instead of just making it so that, that could be taught, he made it so it was innate. He learned it and then bound it so it would pass on, and you just sort of knew. And the reason that's really interesting is because there's a lot of famous magicians who've popped up in royal families throughout Europe. There's been a lot of them in the Germanys. There's a couple that popped up in weird places in North America, but mostly in Europe. And so anybody, if you can speak with animals, usually it was implied that you were of royal blood, and so you were married into the family. So even if you were born a peasant girl, grew up in the middle of the woods with 3 grandmothers, and then you can talk to animals, and a prince finds out about that, they marry you into that family because they assume you're royalty. And so that's where that came from. That's why speaking with animals, being able to give animals intelligence, even supposedly, that's where it all came from Melampus. Now, I don't know why it just stuck to royal families, probably because that's a really handy skill to have around the kingdom. So really, actually, it's really practical as to why it stuck to royal families. I mean, thinking about it. Anyway, so Melampus, probably most famous Greek. Obviously, well, okay, all right. And I'm going to say again, these videos are a little longer than this normal because we're talking about history and there's a lot of stuff to cover. And I didn't want to break these videos down. So, anyway, magical history. So I'm not going to say next week, but for the next lesson, we'll talk more about magical history. Yeah, and so I'll try to put together another lesson. There's a lot of stuff to go through, and so I'm trying to really get some stuff in. And I'm really making some leads on magical experts. So it'll be really cool. You guys will really like it. Okay, yeah, that's it. Like and subscribe. I'll see you guys next time. There we go.